Hey there, Postal here. So today we are taking a look at my favorite build so far, probably for a while, for the P-61 Black Widow. So I've specialized the plane. It took 14 battles, I think, and I liked having to take the time to get the plane specialized because it let me kind of mess around with everything, right? So we've got a P-61 on the enemy team. We've also got a Yak-19, a Tempest that we need to look out for. Let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to go for this garrison as a tier 9 battle. Not that that really matters with this plane. So I've definitely changed up... Ooh, don't be all skippy on me now. Definitely changed up my thought process with the plane. Obviously, we are still leaning in on the maneuverability, because you've got that maneuverability. But the fact of the matter is, I wanted to take advantage of the full airspeed that this thing can have. 60 seconds worth of boost previously was really, really good. But all I did was get you to go a reasonable airspeed. We're going to take a look at my build once we get back to the hangar and see you know, just how much I really enjoy this particular build. Are there any... I feel like I might be wasting my time going over here. We're going to angle down on the off chance that there's some ground attackers. I don't see the ground attackers. Not that we have anybody here. There's one. There's the other one, actually. So perfecto. Cool. Keep on moving to the mining facility. That would be swell, if you don't mind, IL-40. Go ahead, and unfortunately, it is still an IL-40, so don't quite have the damage output to be doing what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway, darn it. Definitely take 2 passes on this 329 as well. Set him on fire. That's going to certainly be helpful. So yeah, you may have noticed I've only got 48 seconds worth of boost now. I've got the gas turbine that is going to be... It's significantly helped. Previously, where I would struggle to even get to 435 miles an hour, now we were able to easily stay above that. Come on, gunner. See there, that forward firing gunner is just awesome. I don't even have to be on target, but my gunner is gonna get him. Yep. Really, really enjoying this plane. A lot, actually. I don't mind. It's not one of those, you know, what, a Ju-87 D5 I like now, but it took me a long time to even reasonably enjoy that plane. Some other premiums that I've won in crates, XP36F, I just can't stand that plane right now. So I'm glad that I was able to get a premium plane that it's actually enjoyable. And unfortunately, I'm almost positive we've got that guy inbound. Now he's doing the same thing to me that I was doing to him. My goal is to try to outmaneuver him. Who knows what kind of build he's got. There's a lot of flexibility with this plane as far as your build types is concerned. But we were able to outmaneuver him, even though if once you look at my build, you're going to recognize I do not have a turn build with this plane, and yet I still have an 11.5 second turn time. It's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit funny. Oh man, I thought that plane was going the opposite direction. Clearly is not. Going to their spawn point, which is definitely not what I want to be doing. Might have boost, so let's let off the boost for a while. There we go. Not the best idea to go for those bombers and ground attackers, but that being said, it seems to be the thing that's going to win us this game. Oh man, is this guy coming after us again? He is. He definitely is. All right. Yeah, he's got to be. He's coming at a beeline, I fear for us. So let's use the mountain to our advantage. Pneumatic control assist, which I didn't even have to use last time, but I did this time, just to make sure, because obviously there's nothing else that's over here that's going to save me. Might actually kill me just with his rear gunner if I can't get my forward firing gunner on him quick enough. Unfortunately, they got the mining facility because I had to deal with this guy. Thank you. Frig-a-dig, man. Alright, let's see if I can't kill this IL-40 before he leaves. Nope, he's already out. Well, I'll kill him anyway. Just to kill him. See if I can't get some people to come over here. I can't do anything about the mining facility because I don't have any bombs and rockets, right? Clearly. Man, my engines get knocked out a lot. See if we can't get this bomber out of here. They've got both mining facilities, unfortunately. So we might lose this just simply because we were not able to keep that mining facility. So even though I've come out on top versus the P-61 from the enemy team each time, he's foiled me from being able to defend sectors. Although we got that other mining facility, so we should be golden at this point. We've gotten our boost back. Okay, we've got those guys coming here, so let's angle down a little bit. This is actually, believe it or not, this is actually one of my worst games that I've had in this particular plane. So that should show you, if you believe me, just how freaking strong this plane has been with my setup and in my hands. There's 100%.
I'm proud of you, pilots. Head back home.
Yeah, like honestly, I've been averaging about 18,000, and I've had a couple over 25,000. So, oh, people are being upset. So we must have done well. All right, so we've got our second battle here in the P-61. It's a Tier 9 battle. It's got a bunch of Tier 9 battles, but it is what it is. Got a B-29C on our team, a B-29C on the enemy team. Missouri Marauder is a really good pilot, so as good as Amateur Salmon might be, I think we'll be okay.
Pilots, get ready for action.
Yeah, Missouri Marauder, I'm not sure I've ever seen him, excuse me, in a B-29C, but every other time I've seen him fly, he's done really well, so we'll assume he's going to be doing really well. Let's go ahead and let's get up into a decent altitude here. Take advantage of the altitude performance that this plane has. I highly recommend it. Let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Tricksy little fighter. Turn it over. Cool. Are we dogfighting a BF-109G? Yeah, because we're actually doing damage to him even though we can't even see him. Hitting the air brakes, hitting the boost, hitting the air brakes. On target. Cool, nothing else we can do here? Oh, never mind. Look, there's more things that want to get killed. How convenient. I'm assuming that bomber is going to be dead. I assumed correctly. I can outmaneuver this 109TL even if it was a human. So we're okay with going up against him. Ooh, no. We need that guy dead. Not gonna try to turn with him. Gonna try to get rid of this guy if I can. Yeah, exactly. Cat wants in on the action. Gonna just keep. I'm just gonna cut across here, see if we can't get the other command center. I actually want to get this fighter. Yeah. Definitely want to get this fighter. Cannot shoot this fighter for the life of me, apparently. The Teflon coated paint that's on the Key 162s. Unfortunately, not paying attention. Oh, am I at their spawn point? What am I doing here? Trying. Oh, come on. I don't want to be fighting these guys outside the stupid sector. I want to get that. Go get in a sector so I can kill you and make it worth it. Alright, so we've got a ground attacker. That's nice. Got a fighter inbound again. It's the same fighter too. Going through all my boosts, unfortunately. There we go. Good grief, man. Taking a long time to kill these things. TA-152, I don't necessarily care about. Oh, we do care about this guy, though. A bot TA-152, though. Those are super dangerous. They're the only ones that can actually hit anything. Oh, that was annoying. Guess ignore a bot. TA-152 at your own discretion. It's like ignoring an SU-9. They all suck until they don't. Let's respawn here. And go capture this sector here. I think, yep, our B-29 died too. Unfortunately, I don't know if he crashed or if he actually got killed, but we'll find a way to capture this back. Dive down. Boost up. Not that the B-29 needs any help capturing a freaking garrison, but I'm here. Excelente. We're barely up. We've got a bunch of sectors over them, but we're only barely up on actual capture points. I think it'll start spiraling out of control soon here. So what we're gonna do is go for this guy. Oh, actually, we're gonna go for you. Since you're closer, and you're actually outside your happy range. Although you're diving down, that's annoying. TA-152 is inside his happy range. as far as altitude is concerned. Let's dive back down here. Actually, let's get this dude. Joe, hey Joe, what do you know? Cool. Oh, hey sir, how are you? It's a good time to go for the B-29 because he's focused on everything else under the sun. And I didn't have to be the focus of his defense. Right? Let's go ahead here, flip back over, get my finger off the boost. Finger back on the boost, off the boost. I need to get some of my boost back. Get rid of this guy, this little pain in the ass gnat of a plane. Try not to crash or get bomb dropped. There we go. Okay, we've got that sector again. I think we're okay. Do I want to get stuck in? I don't really want to get stuck in. As flexible as this plane is, getting stuck in is not the way to go. You still have to be mindful of your surroundings. You still have to be relatively intelligent about the interactions. This guy doesn't see me. Pneumatic control assist for the win. Up and over. Ah! It's not what I went. It's not what I want. See if we can't capture another sector really quick here. 20mm cannons. You want to actually hit? Maybe. Come on. Thought that fighter was gonna die. Alright, cool. Whew! Think we got it. There we go. There's a little bit above average game for me there. Aces have been more common since I've specialized this plane. And I just feel like I've got such a large amount of flexibility. Again, you still don't want to get stuck in and get yourself into a situation that you regret. But let's head back to the hangar. All right, so in that first battle there, 13 kills. Again, had to take a lot of time just to try to duel a P-61, which I get. It happens. In fact, if I didn't have that P-61, you know, the game would have gotten out of hand, right? And so, you know, no harm there. But you can see with this particular build just how you're able to come out on top versus pilots, and he's a good pilot. I've ran into him before. It's not like he's just somebody that spent $100 on the plane and got it. He's in a good clan. He's a good pilot. Let's take a look at the build after our second battle here. All right, so for that second battle, we were able to get 22 kills. McGuire or McCampbell, everything else. We didn't get the Marseille, right, because we died. But we did get a bunch of other stuff. And so, like, that is not overly uncommon for me now in this plane. And I'm not trying to make it sound like it's completely on me. I know part of it is my skill set, but the reality is I think this plane lends to those kind of interactions. I mentioned it in the short that I just posted the other day that this plane can, with its weaker guns but longer range, faster firing, you actually get more kills in this plane than you do in the XP-58. You get a lot more damage in the XP-58. But very often I'm doing a boom and zoom and leaving an enemy aircraft on super low health in the XP-58, and I'm just zooming away, letting somebody else get the kill. So be it. This plane has the opposite going for it. Because the guns don't do all that much damage, but they're consistent, they're 20mm cannons, you can take on, and you're basically cleaning up what the XP-58 leaves behind, right? And so you would, like you would with any of the planes that have 4 20mm cannons. Let's take a quick look at my overall build on this plane, and let's specifically focus on the changes and why I changed them. Still got the same pilot and the same gunner, just so we've got that consistency. I have gone all try-hard mode. In the paint shop, I do have the summer, winter, desert, and marine paint. I've even gone with a different nose scheme for it. I wasn't really fond of the Spider-Man wannabe. I love Spider-Man. Wasn't fond of the nose job on this, so I went ahead and put the bleeding skull. So you know that I'm being my try-hardiest, and we're getting the most out of this, right? So let's take a look at my service setup. And then we're going to take an overall look at the differences with the plane. So my setup on this build is now leaning towards speed. And we're going to discuss why in just a moment. First of all, I mean, just specializing it, you get the 2 airframe slots. It came down to, did I want to put polished skin, or did I want to put reinforced skin or reinforced airframe? Well, I didn't want to put reinforced airframe. Yeah, that would add to the hit points, but that would take away from the maneuverability. And although I don't want to lean all in on maneuverability, I don't want to take away from it specifically just for health. Reinforced skin, I was highly tempted to do that. I would have been more tempted if we had 2 engine slots to do something that would increase the survivability of my engines. My wings and tail, they don't get knocked out all that often, right? And so it didn't seem like it was a viable option. So it really just left me with polished skin. Luckily, I had an experimental polished skin lying around, which has a less negative impact on the maneuverability. And so I went with that. Seems like a perfect fit, right? You're getting some more cruise speed, you're getting some more acceleration while diving. And by going to the higher altitudes, you know, the 8,000 foot, 2,500 meters or so, you've always in an ability to turn down and have even more speed there. I still have the lightweight wing frame. It's still the way to go. The roll maneuverability, the maneuverability in turns, I want to hang on to that. Yeah, it lowers my aircraft HP, and heck, it even negatively impacts the wing's resistance to critical damage. But again, I don't get that happening all that often. And if I do have it happen, luckily our consumables have 2 slots. I still have pneumatic control assist. I'm going to always have pneumatic control assist on this plane because it's basically a multi-role fighter as far as maneuverability is concerned. And because you've got an extra consumable slot, I put the emergency control system in here. On that off chance that the wings or tail get knocked out, emergency control system, I'm right back in. It doesn't matter that I have a negative impact to the resistance to crits. I can just plug it back in there. As far as the piece de resistance for the engine, I've got the gas turbine. The reason I've put this on here is you start off stock 60 seconds worth of boost. Right, 60 seconds worth of boost is something that we focused on in the first video. That's such a large amount of boost that the negative boost availability that the gas turbine has means nothing. The additional acceleration with the boost activated and the maximum speed with the boost activated is incredibly helpful. Even more helpful, honestly, is the bonus characteristics. The engine cooldown rate means that instead of having engine cooling, or even for that matter, the premium fuel on the engine consumable slot, I was able to go with the emergency restart system. The gas turbine allows the overall top airspeed with the boost running to be higher. It also, the engine cooldown rate is significantly better, to the point where even though I only have 48 seconds worth of boost now, I definitely don't notice it being missed. That a cooldown rate, getting my boost back sooner rather than later, has been very, very helpful. And you'll notice the overall airspeed is higher thanks to obviously just it's going to be higher from having ultimate equipment, but it really puts it on par with or close enough with some of the fighters, the heavy fighters that are out there. As far as the consumable here is concerned, I've actually got an engine restart system. So this is the premium version. I had a bunch of them lying around. Eventually, once they're gone, I'm going to go to the regular restart system for this particular plane. That being said, for whatever reason, the first 4 battles that I had, or whatever it was, my engine never got knocked out. Every single battle since then, engine knockout, engine knockout, engine knockout. Normally, I don't mind that. I really don't. I will eat that on a lot of my planes. The difference is, though, and I think it has something to do with the air, with the, it's in direct alignment with the amount of boost that you have. The engines getting knocked out on this plane take forever to come back to be serviceable. I didn't even time it. 30 seconds, something ridiculous. Way too much time where you're just kind of floating through space. And every single game, my engines get knocked out. Except for a very rare. Besides the first 4 battles, I think I've only had 1 game where the engines didn't get knocked out the entire battle. Emergency restart system. It doesn't need to be the premium that I've got here. Unless you've won a bunch, then cool. It can just be the standard manual engine restart, which I've got a bunch of those too. I've got the premium one because, again, I've got them lying around, and it's only a 60-second reload on the consumable, where the standard is 90-second. Either way, you need that consumable. If only because your engines take freaking 30 or 45 seconds, I don't even know, to restart. It can be incredibly frustrating. You've got that large amount of boost available, so you don't need engine cooling. Just put in the restart. As far as, additional speed is concerned, this setup that I've got here is going to help out with that immensely, and we're going to take a look at the metrics in just a second. The other 2 items I've put on here, I put gas-operated action. These 20mm cannons feel really comfortable. They don't overheat very quickly. So sometimes on 20mm cannons, especially ones that overheat very quickly, I'm looking at you, XF5U, I will put reinforced bulk carriers on. I tend to put reinforced bulk carriers on like my 30mm cannons. 20mm cannons, you've got 2 different options for these 20mm cannons. Gas-operated action or long gun barrel. Either one you're going to do fine. You've got pretty good range on these cannons, so adding additional range, that percentage will have a bigger impact because you've already got a decent range. So I know a handful of people that have been putting the long gun barrels on here. I'm even tempted to do it myself. But at this point, with my playstyle, it's fine. Gas-operated action is perfectly fine, too. In fact, most people might actually go with this just because it increases the raw damage output while the enemy plane is inside your gun range. The other perk to long gun barrels, though, if I did go to that, would be that it doesn't negatively impact the accuracy. That being said, you might notice I've got gas-operated action, and I do not have the sight on here. I'm not finding it a necessity. Even with all the negative impact to my accuracy, these 20mm cannons are still hitting really well. Again, I've even got my F-86 pilot in here, which does not have Marksman 2. I've flown the plane with my XF-90, F-2H, any of the planes that I have Marksman 2 on. And there's a slightly noticeable difference, but the negative impact of only having Marksman 1 instead of Marksman 2 isn't enough for me to be like, oh, you definitely need Marksman 2. So having a pilot with just Marksman 1 on it, perfectly acceptable, if not great, for this overall build that I have. I have the radio equipment on here. Radio equipment's one of those items, kind of like the G-suit, that G-suit people put on just because they want extra maneuverability and they don't really understand how it works. Hell, I barely understand how it works. But the radio equipment, it's not thought about because unlike the sight or the cockpit armor where you can see metrics being specifically impacted by your accuracy or by your overall crew not being knocked out as often. The radio equipment, we don't really think about visibility. We don't really think about your detection range or your ability to detect the enemies. How many times were you watching me in these 2 battles, though, where it was like, why wasn't this plane paying attention to me? And the reality of it is I notice that happen more often when I have a pilot, a plane that has radio equipment. It's in the game for a reason. This equipment. It's not utilized very often, but I think that's a mistake for a lot of different planes. I've put it on this particular plane because at the time, I didn't have the speed to get away from anybody. I have enough speed now to get away from some of the slower planes finally, especially multi-role fighters. I had it and put the radio equipment on the P-61 specifically so I could control the engagement a little bit more. My thought process was if I can sneak up on them, then, it doesn't matter that they can out-hit me or out-turn me or outspeed me. I get the first few hits in. In fact, with gas-operated action, get the first quite a few hits in and can knock out engines, knock out wings, and by then it's all over for them, right? Once I specialized the plane, I was sorely tempted to go with this sight. I was even half tempted to go with the G-suit. But my maneuverability, as you can see, has been great anyway. My accuracy has been great anyway. And so I've leaned in on the radio equipment. I made it ultimate equipment. I re-rolled for extra concealment, for extra accuracy. It even has accuracy when firing at moving targets is one of the bonus characteristics, right? The overall accuracy of my forward firing equipment is positively impacted by some of the bonuses on here. The negative, perceived negative of not having a gun sight on this plane is kind of mitigated, and on top of that, I think it's fully mitigated and canceled by the fact that I can be sneaky as hell. The enemies have to literally be going out of their way to know which direction I'm going. Like, they've got to say, okay, Postal just killed me. He was going to that, or he's probably going to be going to that garrison or whatever the next thing is that needs to be captured. They have to think about where I'm at and where I'm going. If they don't, I could be anywhere. The radio equipment helps that, and I 100% stand behind my choice on that for this particular plane. It's not the right choice for every plane, but it's definitely made an impact to my abilities with this plane, and so I'm sticking with it. You can fight me on it. All right, so as far as my pilot is concerned, again, this is just my F-86 pilot. The great thing about my F-86 pilot is got aerobatics expert and aerodynamics expert, which both lean in on the maneuverability and the overall speed equipment that you've got here. Resilience is always good in these kind of planes that get stuck in, and this plane will get stuck in. Whether you want to or not, you're going to get stuck in with the P-61. Even with the equipment and the build I have, it's still not the fastest thing out there. It's just faster. Let's take a quick look at all that, right? My cumulative damage now with my forward firing weapons is 553. Not a significant improvement, but it's better than the 480 that you start off with. And obviously it's doing enough damage to hit hard enough. My overall hit points has been lowered. I'm at 654. It's just part of the balance of maximizing the impact in some areas. Had to take away from something, and it took away from my overall survivability. That being said, my overall airspeed, my boost speed is now up to 477. And in fact, very often it's higher than that, especially if I'm angled down in any way, shape, or form. I can push 500, at least 480 to 490. Because you still have 48 seconds worth of boost, I'm able to stay above 450 pretty consistently. If you remember the first video, I was struggling even with the boost to get to 435, and I felt like trying to boost through sand rather than through air. My overall cruise speed is up to 407. It's nothing crazy, but again, it's still a lot better than what it was previously before specialization and before the polished skin was able to be put on. Again, this plane is not a fast plane, even with the specialization, even with this type of build. But it's fast enough to be effective now. It's not completely left behind, where you felt like you were a sluggish multi-role fighter. Now you kind of feel like you're a fast multi-role fighter, even though you're a heavy fighter. And so I'm perfectly happy with that. 48 seconds worth of boost is still excessive. I still wonder if maybe that's still broken in some way, but I suppose the overall cruise speed is still really slow compared to some of the other heavy fighters. And you saw we were in nothing but tier 9 battles, so you're dealing with F2Hs and 262 HG2s. Can be incredibly frustrating, right? So you just kind of got to deal with that and lean in on your multi-rolling-ish. So as far as my maneuverability is concerned, my average turn time, even with polished skin that takes away from maneuverability, my average turn time is 11.4. I know there's builds out there that can get down to 10.4 or 10.5, 10.6, something like that. And I get why somebody would want to do that. And for some people, that might be the best build for them. My thought process is the situations where having that 1 second extra worth of turn time is better. Those situations are like this. The situations where having that extended boost and greater impact to overall airspeed is more important is like this. So yeah, there's going to be situations where I'm going to sit there and be like, crap, I wish I had a second better turn time. But I think it's completely countered by the fact that for every one time that happens, there's probably 9 times where I'm like, thank God I've got some extra speed. I'm completely happy with this build. I usually do some experimentation and do some adjustments at some point. My rate of climb obviously has jumped up quite a bit thanks to the gas turbine as well, just FYI. I always do some sort of experimentation on my airplane. I think I've done a lot of experimentation from the first video that you saw, my first impressions, up until this specialization. I'm not sure there's a lot more that I would do to it. If there was anything at all that I might possibly do to this plane at this point, it would be changing the gun equipment on the forward firing. It'd be changing it to long gun barrels. Maybe getting a little bit more range there. That'll help the accuracy significantly, actually. And so we'll see. That might be the one thing that I take out of it. But that being said, in my hands, for my playstyle, I know not everybody plays to my playstyle. This plane has been an absolute joy. Overpowered? No. I can say it's been very, very strong. And yeah, I might be averaging 18,000 personal points with this plane. But the overall plane, if I get focused down, if I get in a battle with a 1092 that just wants to make my life a living hell, my life is going to be a living hell. And the thought process when I run into those types of battles where you get a hard counter and somebody either recognizes you as a reasonable enough pilot or just sees, ooh, shiny new premium that they want to kill, your thought process has to be like it should be in any situation where you're overpowered by an enemy plane or an enemy pilot. Oh, they're over there? Then I'm going to go over there, right? Put yourself somewhere that's going to be effective. Don't be that pilot that just throws themselves at a brick wall and wonders why that brick wall is not breaking down. Go to where you can be effective. Go attack a different sector. Go defend a different sector if you need to. This plane is actually really good at defending sectors. Go find somewhere that can be effective and win you the battle. Don't get yourself killed 2, 3, 4 times. Get frustrated. Quit the battle, whether you've actually literally quit the battle or just quit the battle mentally and are still in it but not playing effectively. Don't do that to yourselves. And this goes for any plane. This is a Happy New Year PSA. Go put your plane somewhere where it's going to be effective and try to win the battle that way. And I've had to do that in this plane, and you can still be really effective in this plane and any plane by going to somewhere else. It might not be the best place to go. Like you really need that mining facility, or you might really need that military base. But you know what? A garrison's still going to get you something, right? Forward air base is still going to get you something. If anything, it's going to make the enemy bots have to contemplate which sector they're going to go to attack, and that can help. So capturing something's better than capturing nothing, right? Anyway, hope you enjoyed this particular video. A little bit longer, so I apologize about that, but I wanted to give my thought process behind why I changed my mentality of going for a maneuverability build, going more leaning towards airspeed build, my thought process behind the radio equipment, my thought process behind the entire build, so you all understand that thought process. And my thought process might not be valid for you. That's fine, right? I just want everybody to have a thought process of why they're putting equipment on the way that they're putting equipment on. Yours could be a completely different build. I know for a fact that there's people out there that have complete maneuverability build, right? I know for a fact that there's people out there that have a complete survivability build. You know, where they've got this freaking engine armor protection on here. They've got polished skin, but then they've got the reinforced airframe. I don't remember if he said he had the cockpit armor, but that's not the point. Build it around you, right? Don't try to be Postal. God knows the world doesn't need two of me. Build it around your capabilities, your strengths, and your weaknesses, and that's what you should be doing with all of your planes. What build do you find enjoyable? Build it around there. Don't feel like you've got to justify your build. But keep an open mind that sometimes there is a better thing, even for yourself, who might have a different playstyle. Man, a lot of ranting today. Happy New Year. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in today's video. I'd love to hear your build for this plane. If you have the P-61. If you don't, I really enjoy the plane. Is it worth the grind? Totally, in my opinion. It's a lot of grinding. I would even go out on a limb and say, spending some sort of money on this plane, maybe not the $100, maybe not the $50 or $60, whatever it is for the 300, but spending some sort of money on this plane is completely justifiable. I'm glad I have this plane. I'm really glad that I was gifted some of the certificates to be able to get it early and be able to produce a video for you all. So big thanks to those who supported me there. And yeah, keep grinding. It's totally worth the grind, in my opinion, if you like this type of playstyle. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.